Hello, everybody. This is Gerald Celente, and it's Thursday, June 29th, 2023. And here are some of today's trends in the news. Let's go to the Wall Street Journal and let's see what the front page big news story is today. Oh, there it is. Bits of doom sub hoisted ashore. Who gives a fuck? What was the big story on Monday? The big front page? Titanic sub imploded, 5 dead. And go back to Saturday. There's another one. Missing Titanic sub has less than 40 hours of air left. Forget about the 350 people that died in the boat sinking off the coast of Greece. This is the bullshit that they're putting out to get your mind off what's really going down. And it's going down hot and heavy. We're in the worst crisis in modern history between geopolitics and economics. But this is the crap they're feeding. What the fuck do I care? Oh, a billionaire's son. Oh, my son went on the... I'm sorry they died on that, but fucking people are dying every day, everywhere. This is fucking news. It's fucking shit. And you know why? Because you got fucking prostitutes that are the media. Journalism is dead. Dead. Brainwashed by crap. That's all they float down. And they're nothing more than war whores. No peace allowed. They're all pieces of shit. You're not allowed to talk about peace. All they are is controlled by the CIA, as Judge Andrew Napolitano says. War whores on parade. Yep. War is good for ratings. It's the COVID war, Ukraine war, and get ready for the world war. Anyway, let's go into the economics. And the markets are up today, but it's nothing more than
bullshit.
Again, read your Trends Journal. Go back to November of last year. We said the S&P. I was on Rich Dad. I even said it at the beginning of the year when I was. They filmed it in December. I said the markets are going to go up. The S&P went up 16% following the last 40 midterm elections over the past 60 years. They're going to do it again. It's fixed in there. So the S&P is up what? 14%. But it's coming near an end. And we're forecasting the end is going to come when they start lowering interest rates. And they're going to start lowering interest rates in the run-up to the presidential reality show. The gold prices are down because interest rates are high, and they're raising them everywhere. Yeah. Interest rates will keep rising and stay elevated, central banks warn. This is from the Financial Times today. The world's top central bank chiefs have signaled their readiness to increase interest rates further and keep them high. They warned, you ready? That tight labor markets are still pushing up wages and prices. You know what that is?
Bullshit.
That's right. Fucking labors are way below labor prices, are way below inflation numbers. And when you put the real inflation number in the United States, according to John Williams Shadow Stats, ain't even close. The wages are way the fuck down. These are the same scumbags. Oh, you don't believe me? Once upon a time, there was somebody by the name of Jesus Christ that drove the money changers out of the temple. That said there was no inflation. It was only temporary and then transitory. And they knew that it was a lie, but they kept doing it to artificially prop up the markets during the COVID war, whether it was Powell, Yellen, or Lagarde. And what a bunch of ugly fucking people. How could you listen to this shit from these crapheads? Anyway, so now they're talking about wages, not the cheap money, zero and negative interest rate policy, not the quantitative easing, buying up corporate bonds, not pumping in countless trillions of dollars to fight the COVID war. That didn't have a fucking thing to do with it. All it had to do with it was the plantation workers of Slavelandia making more money, and we got to stop it. Because, hey, the billionaires got to make more money. And the bigs can't keep paying their plantation workers more money. We got to bring the profits up. What fucking crap. What crap. So the guess is now 79% probability of a July rate rise in the United States. You ready? Even Bank of Japan governor, Mr. Fucking Shit, said growth of wages was picking up in his country. Quote, wages have started to rise at 2% so far for the first time in more than 3 decades. So fuck the people. Fuck the people. How dare you get 2% more? Hey, how much did Gates get? What about Buffett? What about Bezos? What about the billionaires that got $27 trillion richer during the COVID war? How about fuck off, Celente? Oh, by the way, there's another side of Celente, and you can see it on my channel over here. I call these guys out because of what they're doing to us, but I surround myself with beauty, and looking for it to show up too. But anyway, all the time, I get my mind off what I have to write about. You know, there I am with Ronald Reagan picking on Chicago Hilton, 30 years old, 2 days before he's announcing he's running against Gerald Ford. Anyway, so I'm angry. I'm angry because of what they're doing to us. And blaming wages is immoral. And I got to find that quote here because it's right here. He who's not angry when there is just cause for anger is immoral. Why? Because anger looks to the good of justice. And if you can live amid injustice without anger, you are immoral as well as unjust, said St. Thomas Aquinas. So fuck off because I'm angry. And that's proper language. When you're in the fight for your life, please don't rob and steal from me or kill me. Grow the fuck up. Anyway, that's on your interest rate front. Here we go. Lagarde tells ECB to keep rates high. Yep. This is a Lagarde that said that there was no inflation. Deal makers adrift as 1 trillion vanish in first half. So the M&A activity has vanished. Again, we've been doing it for years. The bigs are getting bigger. It's one of our columns, one of our articles in the many, many articles of the Trends Journal. Bigs get bigger. It's on our global economic front. But now, because of the tightening up of money, you're not seeing it anymore. But here's the other side of the deal. Private equity giants settle for more deals. Mega deals are out, little deals are in. Blackstone, KKR, and other buyout giants are using their record war chest to snap up smaller companies. So they're getting bigger. They're buying up more. And again, KKR, how about KKK? You got Blackstone, what is this shit? This didn't exist when I was a young man. Did not exist. So the rich are getting richer, the bigs are getting bigger, and they're complaining about the plantation workers making more money, 2%. Americans think they will need $1.3 million to retire comfortably, study says. This just came out. $1.3 million. How many people are going to be retiring with $1.3 million? That's how bad things are. No inflation. No, it's just all in your mind. We're fixing it. And they made up that 2% inflation number, by the way, in 2012. They made the fucking number up. Fed economists say historic 37% of U.S. companies are in big trouble, and one that could worsen the fallout from fighting inflation. That's right. The higher interest rates go, the worse things are going to get. Again, this is from the Federal Reserve, so I'm not making this up. Yep. The higher they raise interest rates, the worse things are going to get. You ready for this? Disenchanted Portland residents leave the city. Cities across the U.S. are contending with an urban exodus that came with the COVID-19 pandemic. Americans moved to more affordable areas, to the suburbs and countryside, and they sought more space to work increasingly from home and get away from crime and violence. So here's the bullshit that came with the COVID-19 pandemic. Hey, Zerusa Ellison, who wrote this for the Wall Street Journal, you're full of fucking shit. You're full of fucking shit. It's the scumbag politicians that locked down the fucking country, the states and the cities. And maybe you're too fucking stupid to read the Trends Journal because we forecast this was going to happen. When people lose everything and have nothing left to lose, they lose it. We warned about rising crime. We warned about businesses going bust as more people work from home, commuted, and office occupancy rates and vacancy rates would rise. Totally blacklisted by the mainstream media. And it wasn't a fucking pandemic, prick. Or I don't know if you can't say the other word. They called it a pandemic in 2020 of March when only a couple of thousand people died. And 99.91% of the people are still alive. Here your cover from your Trends Journal. 106 dead in China, 1.4 billion still alive. That was 2 weeks after the Chinese launched the COVID war, January 28th, 2020. We said it was bullshit and the first ones to do it. Yeah, once bustling downtown Portland, windows remain boarded up, some storefronts remain empty, and open drug use is common. Yep, one thing after another. Yep. This is just the beginning. Just the beginning. The office building bust is going to crash. Oh, no. One of the reasons why the markets went up today, the Fed had said, oh, the banking system's just fine. Everything is just fine. I'm Jerome Powell. I'm Janet screaming, yelling. Believe the crap that I'm shoving down your throat. Be a good American. HSBC dumps London Tower for smaller office as real estate reckoning unfolds. Yep, they're leaving Canary Wharf. Reuters. We said this was going to happen. Inflation has driven 4 million Nigerians into poverty, according to the World Bank, and 63% of Nigerians, or about 133 million people, were already classed last November, quote, as being multidimensionally poor. All right? This is part of the New World disorder. Why do you think people are leaving their countries? Lack of basic living standards, crime, government corruption, violence, made worse by the sanctions that the United States and Europe put on Russia that have driven up the food prices all over the world and energy prices. So the people are suffering. This is just the beginning, and that's why we're mentioning it. And again, the higher interest rates go, the worse everything becomes. And by the way, here's your shirts. Hey, politicians, who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? I bow down to Lindsey Graham. I like to get fucked up the ass. I like to get fucked up the ass by Lindsey. I like Mitch McConnell. I like Mitch McConnell. The guy has more chins than Chinatown. Oh, no, Diane Not So Feinstein's fine for me. Oh, how about that guy Fetterman shows up with his hoodie and his shorts? Okay. I'll tell you what to do. You do what I tell you to do. You're nothing more than a plantation worker on Slavelandia. Yeah. They destroyed our country with the COVID war. The world changed in 2020. Anyway, moving on. Here we go. Cartier boss with 7.5 billion fortune says prospect of poor rising up keeps him awake because he's afraid there's going to be a off with their heads 2.0. Yeah. How is society going to cope with structural unemployment and the envy, hatred, and the social warfare? We're destroying the middle class at this stage, and it will affect us. It will affect us. We need more money. I'm worth 7.5 billion. Fuck you, Celente, you little giddy wop from the Bronx. Fuck you and Occupy Peace. I hate peace. I'm a piece of billionaire shit. Yep. Hey, what are you doing to reverse this trend? Nothing. Cartier. Oh, EU weighs a digital version of the euro. What a surprise. They just said this yesterday. The European Commission, a bunch of fucking scumbags. We're the European Commission. We suck up and bow down to anybody to get where we are. We take it up the ass. We swallow shit. And we'll tell you what to do. Digital currency. We warned about this 3 years ago in your Trends Journal. More than 3 years ago, March 2020, from dirty cash to digital trash. They'll know every penny you spent, where you spent it, and what you spent it on. So now let's go to the Ukraine war. So I'm cleaning up some stuff. You know, what I do every day is I, read all this shit and send it to the writers and underline all the salient points of the articles. So I am getting rid of the other stuff I've done. And I came up with this one, May 29th. What is that? 6 weeks ago? How many weeks ago is that? 6 weeks ago or something? This is from Business Insider. Former Russian commander in Ukraine says Putin could be overthrown by the Wagner mercenary army. Nobody's talking about this. This is predicted. Former federal security officer said Putin could be overthrown by Wagner, ousted by the private military group, the Wagner Army, according to Igor Girkin, former federal security service officer who once led a group of Russian militants in Donetsk. Girkin is also known by his allies as Strelkov and is now a prominent war blogger. Quote, if Prigozhin, whatever his name is, goes in any direction, the guy, the head of Wagner, remains the head of Wagner, the mutiny will come quickly and radically. A coup attempt has been declared. There you got it. But the good news is Australia announces another $110 million to NATO. Great. As the economy goes down, people suffering, here's another $110 million for you. And what else we got? Kyiv says offensive main event still to come. Wait a minute. This was supposed to come in the spring. I guess it's not going anywhere. Don't worry, it's still to come, so keep sending more money. Again, there's your Trends Journal cover. Don't count on counteroffensive. But the Americans are. Majority of Americans back weapon deliveries to Ukraine. This is Reuters. 65% of Americans support continued military aid to Ukraine, up from 46% in May, according to Reuters' Ipsos poll published on Wednesday. Isn't that great? Huh? Here we go. No foreign entanglements coming up to the 4th of July. F you, Washington. That's George Washington. Let's see, one, no foreign entanglements. He said this shit's been going on in Europe for centuries. Yep. You got it. And the Democrats, they're all for giving more war. And what else do we have here? You ready for this one? This is a great story. In today's, yesterday's toilet paper record in New York Times. Germany plans more prominent global role in defense, its defense minister says. You ready? In an interview before his first official visit to Washington, Germany's defense minister staked out a broad geopolitical vision, taking pains to indicate that his country is ready to assume a more assertive stance in the face of growing international instability. Germany is to increase its arms deliveries and take more robust role in the Indo-Pacific region and in military leadership in Europe. Isn't that great? Hey, I love the fucking Germans in World War II. Oh, yeah, bring them back. Fuck neutrality. Hey, he only killed 25 million Russians. Hey, the Holocaust, the hell with you. The Germans are back. Yeah, World War I, World War II, and now we're going to fuck over you even more. Isn't that great? Terrific. Terrific. Yep. Germany must help in the South China Sea, quote, to ensure that the rules-based international order and international law Hey, why don't you mind your own fucking business? How about mind your own fucking business? What the fuck you doing over in China? Anyway, this is serious. Yep. They're abandoning their post-war legacy as a pacifist nation. And then on the presidential reality show, the big news is president's new messaging blitz aims to combat voter pessimism. So Biden yesterday, guess what? Bidenomics is working. How about Biden moronics? Bidenomics. Yeah. White House hails Bidenomics in an effort to woo skeptical voters. You mean stupid fucking shitheads that would vote for this guy that's out of his fucking mind? A warmongering nut? Every fucking war this guy supported. Oh, how about the war on drugs, huh? Oh, but it's okay that his kid does the drugs. But anybody else, yep, there he is. Our president. Yeah. God bless America. The current combination of robust labor market coupled with falling inflation, senior administration officials, official pieces of shit, senior administration officials. European Parliament Committee calls the war crimes charges against Israel. This is important, barely reported. European Parliament's Foreign Affairs Committee called for the European Union to help the International Criminal Court to prosecute Israel for war crimes in a resolution on EU-Palestinian relations. This happened on Tuesday, barely reported. The committee also called to consider target EU measures specifically addressing settlement expansion in the West Bank. Expansion stealing land. Great. The United States is sending its largest nuclear-armed submarine to South Korea for the first time in 4 decades. Isn't that wonderful? How about if China sent their nuclear submarines to the Gulf of Mexico? This is none of our business. And that's why I launched Occupy Peace. And again, we had a great rally here. Nothing like it. Nothing like it in America. Nothing like it. You see, the streets are packed out there, all around the block, all around the sides. People, thousands, everywhere. And that's pasta. Yep. One after another. John Whitehead. Yep. He's the head of the Rutherford Institute. Frank Morano. The other one was Craig Jardula. Dennis Kucinich. Yeah, see all the people that were packed all around. That's Kucinich's RFK Jr.'s campaign manager. Zero coverage. Instead, nuclear arms sub to head to Korea, and no article about we have no right being there. Nuclear plant gets last chance. Japan's dumping more fucking poison water into the ocean as a result of Fukushima. Titled a little nothing article. And what else? A woeful milestone. 100,000 people in New York homeless in homeless shelters. Again, I came up with the homeless solution. They failed to talk about it. $4 billion it's costing people in New York City to house these people in hotels and other places. I want homeless towns. Look at all this land up here, northwest of us, up here in the Catskill Mountains. Vacant. All over the country, vacant land. They had a thing called Boys Town back in the 30s, for kids that had no parents. Let's have homeless towns. Get them out of the cities and put them in beautiful areas for the kind of trillions of dollars we're spending around all the states, and give them skills, put them to work. Summertime, they could be taking care of plants, growing food. Give them craft skills, get them out of the cities. Homeless towns. Fuck off, Celente. We're politicians. We get a lot of money from the guys who own these hotels. We give them all the money in these other centers. So, shut the fuck up. Hey, politicians, who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? And then suicide risks of transgender people is documented. Transgender people in December have significantly higher risk of suicide than other groups. Wonder why? Oh, this is in the New York Times. Millions are under air quality alerts. That's the other big news because of the fires up in Canada. You're fighting all these fucking wars and you can't put out a fucking fire. Trillions of dollars in wars and you can't put out a fucking fires. You got that arrogant little Trudeau up there, the little daddy's boy. Justin Trudeau, an arrogant, my daddy was Pierre. I'm Andy Cuomo. My daddy was Mario when we're renaming the Tappan Zee Bridge. I'm little Georgie Bush with a dick smaller than a pencil. My daddy was George Bush. My grandpa was Prescott Bush. Who was your grandfather? Oh, my grandfather on my mother's side, may rest in peace, was a laborer on the George Washington Bridge. My other grandfather worked in a fish store. You nothing. You weren't a member of the club. It's all it is. It's one big club and we ain't in it. And they're destroying us. We're in critical times. So here's the deal. It's summertime and the living is easy. Spread your wings and you head for the sky. So things are going to be calm, except on the war front. And that could change everything. On the economic front, they start cutting back on trading during the summer months. And we're calling the crash to happen in October, November, December. That's the fourth quarter of this year is going to be when it all starts coming down, when they start lowering interest rates. And the dollar goes down, gold goes up, and it's the beginning. But don't worry, when all else fails, they take you to war. So remember, subscribe to this channel and hit this, let your people know about it because we've got to get the word out there. And of course, subscribe to the Trends Journal. There's no magazine like it in the world. If you hate freedom of speech, if you can't think for yourself, you'll hate the Trends Journal. We're the truth in trends. We have no peers. We give you history before it happens. trendsjournal.com. We're giving you everything we can. There's no magazine like it in the world. Money back guarantee. Grand total, $2.86 a week. Don't forget to see Celente and the judge yesterday. He has a lot to say. Judge Andrew Napolitano. Matter of fact, this weekend, I'm having dinner with him, Scott Ritter, and looking forward to seeing the three of us together. Take care.
At the Trends Journal, the best investment you could make, because it's the best investment into your mind, and it can change how you look at the world.
Less than $3 per week for almost 200 pages, ad-free, great articles. The world's foremost trends forecaster, Gerald Celente.
The Trends Journal is one of the greatest sources of information, and and it really is. You're predicting these things well ahead of time. I would encourage everyone to go grab the latest copy.
Been a Trends Journal subscriber for 20 years. I just have to commend you. What you guys have put together in your latest Trends Journal, there's nothing like this out there.
Sir, everything that you predicted about the economy, you were absolutely right. So I have followed you all this time. So please take a look at the Trends Journal.
You correctly forecast that the Fed would hike rates quite aggressively, correctly said that initially gold and silver would drop as the Fed starts to raise rate to 1.5% and above. When we spoke last, Bitcoin was around 49,000. You said you expect to drop, and if it drops below 30, 35, then it could really drop.
Trends Journal, which I would encourage people to go and check out. It's actually a 200-page document, pure data-driven analysis.
Gerald Celente, the top trends forecaster in the world. Gerald, you had an interesting call back in September of last year. You said gold had bottomed, which is exactly what happened. And here we are, and we're above $1,900.
Subscribe to the Trends Journal. Read history before it happened at trendsjournal.com.